Good afternoon, Villa fans, and welcome to a match preview for Aston Villa versus Newcastle on Saturday tea time. I think it is a 5:15 or 5:30 kickoff at Villa Park. Also, just wanted to reflect a little bit on the PSG game. Obviously, I gave my instant match reaction for those of you that follow. Hugely proud of the boys in the performance, but wanted to touch upon Newcastle in a bit more depth as well. But looking back just quickly on the PSG game, there's nothing but a feeling of being proud of the whole campaign in the Champions League. Going the whole campaign unbeaten at home as well was absolutely amazing. 12 games into our first sort of Champions League campaign, and to see some of the results that we pulled off, the Bayern Munich win, holding Juventus, and should have beaten Juventus at home, and then obviously getting to PSG and having the game stacked against us at 5-1 down at one point, and then rescuing it all the way back to 4-5. And almost, and should have really had a few more goals in that game as well. I mean, some excellent chances and what-if moments, and PSG were really on the ropes. I mean, for a side who are going for the Champions League title, that are used to this sort of campaign, we absolutely had them on the ropes. I think the manager even came out and said, we've not been dominated like that before. Villa in that second half, I don't know what was said by Unai Emery, but even at 2-1 down at that point, we just came out and it was like, no fucks given, basically. We just went for it. Rashford was very, very lively. A lot of people said that he should have stayed on the pitch and not been subbed. And that was a mistake because he was the one who was causing the problems. Probably right. But, I think Watkins came on with about 15 to go and didn't really have much of an impact. So, had Watkins had a couple of chances or put one away, then, that decision would have been not really sort of talked about as much. But it was a great game over two legs to watch. Seeing us trailing from the first leg 3-1 with that last minute goal from Nuno Mendes, and then trailing 2-0 at Villa Park, and then to see us rally back, and some of the goals that we scored, especially John McGinn's lovely solo run from deep in his own half and finishing, Ezri Konsa finishing it like a striker and lovely low finish. Rashford going past his man. Donnarumma making save after save. Asensio denied Rashford. Tielemans with that sort of looping header. We absolutely had PSG on the ropes. Do I think PSG are going to go on and win the Champions League? I don't think so. They might get past Arsenal, who look like a good side also. But my money, if you're asking me, is on Barcelona for some reason. Inter Milan are a very tough team to break down as well, good defensively, but I've just got some feeling for Barcelona. I think they've just got everything sort of coming good for them at the moment, and that'll be who my money is on for the whole sort of Champions League campaign. But, if Villa want to get nights like that again, I mean, the crowd, the atmosphere, I mean, I wasn't there, I watched it on the TV, but absolutely incredible. The scenes when we scored the goals, incredible, probably on a par or surpassing the Atletico Madrid game, which I did go to all those years ago. But it looked unbelievable. And the tifos and everything else that went with the game. Obviously, you got the Champions League or the Conference League amped them out before the Champions League one, which is a bit of a blunder, but never mind. But yeah, if we want those nights again at Villa Park, we need to now look at Newcastle's game and then the remaining. What have we got? 6 games of the Premier League season. We've still got the FA Cup to go as well. We need to make sure that we are getting in the top 5, because top 5 now is Champions League positions. And these 6 games left in the Premier League are 6 cup finals again that we need to make sure. We've got quite a tough run in. Newcastle, I'm going to come on to in a moment, are absolutely on fire at the moment. Up to 3rd place from yesterday's win against Crystal Palace, 5-0, dispatching them quite comfortably. They've got a tremendous midfield and attack as well. If you look at them, they are, a team that is on the up. So yeah, Newcastle going to be a difficult opponent to break down. We've obviously played them earlier on in the season, had a bit of controversy in that game. I think we were 1-0 down after 2 minutes when Anthony Gordon curled in a superb goal. And then Duran, getting involved with Fabian Schär and ultimately getting a red card, which saw the whole kind of momentum of the game change, because up until that point we looked very much like we were in the game, and then Newcastle get 2 further goals later on with Isak and then Joe Linton at the end to seal a 3-0 win. So there's a little bit of revenge that we want to get there. We haven't had a great record against Newcastle recently as well, and they seem to be our bogey team. Harvey Barnes seems to be, always on good form when he plays against us, and he's in good form at the moment. So looking at the last 5 games of Newcastle, last 6 even, is 6 wins in a row in all competitions. 5-0 win against Palace just yesterday, where Murphy, own goal from Gahey, Barnes, Fabian Schär and Isak scored. 4-1 win against Man United before that. Tonali, 2 from Barnes, 1 from Bruno Guimaraes. A 3-0 win against Leicester, 2 from Murphy, 1 from Barnes. A 2-1 win against Brentford, Isak and Tonali. A 2-1 win in the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool. Again, Dan Burn and Isak scoring there. And then, a 1-0 win against West Ham. And that was a Bruno Guimaraes goal. So the last 6 games have been 6 W's in a row. So Newcastle are absolutely on fire. Obviously, without their manager for this, and wish him well and a speedy recovery from his pneumonia, Eddie Howe. But the last 6 games, they've scored 17 goals and conceded only 3. So yeah, absolutely on fire. And that midfield 3 of Joelinton, Tonali, and Guimaraes is a strong, intimidating midfield, and they get forward, they score goals, as you've seen from Tonali recently getting a couple, Bruno Guimaraes getting himself on there, Joelinton getting a goal as well. So, they've got real danger players. And then further forward from that, I'm not sure if Gordon's going to be back for this or not, but Harvey Barnes has come in and it's seamlessly replaced him. They've got Jacob Murphy, who looks like a player reborn at the moment. He scored, 3 goals in the last 6 games. So he's doing well. And obviously, we all know about this guy here in your picture, Alexander Isak, probably one of the best strikers in the Premier League. He's got 21 goals in the Premier League, 25 in total. But they do spread the goals around. So Anthony Gordon's got 9 goals for the season, along with Harvey Barnes, who's hardly played, but he's got 9 goals. And then you've got Jacob Murphy sat on 9 goals as well. So 9 each for those 3, who are the supporting cast to Isak. And Isak is a wonderful player. Pick the ball from deep, go past people. He's a danger in the box. He's great on one-on-ones finishing as well. There's nothing the guy can't do. He's good in the air. He is a complete striker. And they're going for Champions League, and I'm pretty sure that they will get one of the top 5 positions. And you're probably looking at Man City that are going to get another position there as well. So that's probably the 4, and then 5th place is really up for grabs. Will Nottingham Forest fall away? Can we up our game here? If we can get something from Newcastle and drag them back a little bit and keep them within touching distance, that's going to be the key. But we need a heck of a performance against this on-form Newcastle side, who just are, as I said, on fire. And if you look at the previous 5 meetings between Aston Villa and Newcastle, it doesn't make great reading for us. So I talked about the 3-0 defeat on Boxing Day and when John Duran got sent off. Before that, we had a 3-1 loss at Villa Park where Watkins scored for us, but they had Fabian Schär score 2 from centre-back. And then I think Moreno got an own goal in that game. And then obviously, if you're looking back at the beginning of last season, the opening day where we lost, was it 5-1 as well? That was not a great game. Moussa Diaby scoring for us, but by then the game had gone. Tonali scored, Isak got 2, Callum Wilson and Harvey Barnes wrapping up the win for them. And that was a game, I think Tyrone Mings got injured as well. So there was quite a bit going on in that game where, it got away from us basically. So yeah, and then you got to go back to basically 15th of April. So almost this time, 2013, where we won 3-0 with a really dominant performance at Villa Park. Probably one of our best performances under Unai Emery, and a 3-0 win. Jacob Ramsey opening the scoring and Ollie Watkins getting 2 in that performance. And that's what we need to repeat of on Saturday. A fast start. And then the game before that was again a 4-0 defeat. That's going back to 2022 now, but that was a 4-0 defeat where Callum Wilson got 2, Joelinton got 1, and Miguel Almiron got 1 as well. So Newcastle, they've got the hoodoo over us. They certainly have the form coming into the game. They're sat in 3rd place at the moment. They've got the 2nd highest goal scorer in the Premier League in Alexander Isak. So all things are pointing towards a really tough game. We've just come off the back of a mentally and physically draining game against PSG. I must say I did like the look of the lineup when Unai announced it with especially the midfield with Onana and Kamara sitting, with sort of Tielemans a little bit more advanced, McGinn on one side and Rodgers on the other, and then Rashford up top. I just thought having Onana and Kamara and almost McGinn and Tielemans as a box midfield at some point really gave us solidity. And I think to contain the likes of Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali and Joe Linton, who are very powerful players, very consistent work rate is unbelievable between those three as well. We're going to need some legs in midfield as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if he went with a similar looking midfield with Onana and Kamara as the base. And then ahead of that, maybe it's Tielemans and McGinn with Rodgers. And if it's going to be, Rashford or Watkins up top, it wouldn't surprise me if he went with that. I think Rashford is good coming from the left. I think, that's where he does most of his good work. If you see the assist for Konsa, obviously come from wide, going past his man effortlessly and then cutting it back to Konsa. That's where he's at his best, I think. And then you saw the run from the sort of left-hand side, cutting in, and that great save from Donnarumma, again, from the flank, from the wide position. So maybe it's time for Ollie Watkins to come back into the lineup for this. He's obviously got 3 goals in his last, 4 meetings against Newcastle. I think we might need his running in behind, his hold-up play as well at times. He's going to be up against big physical defenders like Dan Burn and Fabian Schär. So it might take a bit of physicality, but also he can run in behind as well. And I think Rashford out wide would be a good option just to sort of pin maybe their sort of wide players a little bit back and give them something to worry about there. So there's an option of putting Rashford wide and then Watkins up top. And then you go with Morgan Rodgers and perhaps McGinn as the supporting cast. And then you have to drop either Onana or Tielemans. But I just thought Onana playing just gave us that physical element. And Newcastle are a big side. Joe Linton's in there, and he's previously sort of bullied us on occasions when we played them. He's looked physically overpowering our midfield. And I just think we have Onana in there. We've got that player that can do the same thing. So it'll be interesting to see what he goes with. Does he continue with Rashford up front, which could work fine? Or does he recall this guy here, Ollie Watkins, in your picture? And go for Ollie Watkins. Watkins is only 1 goal away from equaling Gabriel Bonloko's record. I'm sure that he wants to start games. I'm not sure Watkins coming on from the bench, even though he did it against Southampton, is where you get the best out of him. But let's see. Whatever Unai goes with, it's all good with me. If it's Rashford or is it Watkins, let me know in the comments. What do you want to see in this game? It'll be interesting to see how the team lineup sort of shapes up as well. So, just let me know, and it'd be great to hear your thoughts as well. But, guys, I think for me, the team lineup's going to be, similar as I mentioned. The back line is probably going to be quite similar. We've also got Daniel Malen to think about as well. 3 goals in his last 3 games, and obviously, rested for the Champions League game or not in the squad. So he's going to be full of beans as well. So is there an argument that Daniel Malen should come in from the start, or do we see him very much as that impact player from the bench when the legs are tiring? So there's a shout there as well. But, I think Marlon and maybe Watkins from the bench is probably the right way to go, like we did against Southampton. And I think the same lineup that we saw against Paris Saint-Germain, if they can go again, would be a good place to start with Asensio on the bench as well. So, but guys, let me know your thoughts. My score prediction for this, I'm going to go for a Desmond. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I'm going to go for us to break the losing record against Newcastle because we lost the last 3. But I don't see us overturning them, and I do see goals in this game. It's just whether we can get as much as they can get. We need to keep this man quiet, Isak, up front. He's going to be a threat. Set pieces, they're a threat also as well. But I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. And until Saturday with an instant match reaction, hopefully we're celebrating 3 points because we do need to get those 3 points if we can. I'll come back at you with an instant match reaction. Until then, guys, enjoy your bank holiday. Take care. Bye-bye.